Hello and welcome to JPWHU Radio with me, your host John Phillips, also known as JP. On today's podcast, we are talking about the great work that the West Ham board seem to be making over the last week or so, pretty much since I spoke to you, but how tomorrow's kit launch is still a backwards or even sideways step. If you want to hear the full podcast, then by all means, please do become a Patreon. Links in the description below. Otherwise, let's get to it. Now, first of all, guys, apologies for not making any content for you since the last time I spoke about, but there wasn't really enough in order to talk about a full podcast. This is in companionship with the episode that went up on YouTube on Tuesday and also going up today as well. Because basically I wanted to put two things in together and discuss them with you. And of course, as I said, if you want to hear the full unedited version of this, then by all means, please do become a Patreon. Okay, so basically, since the last time I spoke to you, West Ham seem to be very, very close to getting a director of recruitment. Now, it was originally intended to be Steve Nixon as a director of football, but it appears that he has gone to Wrexham. And so we appear to have been bringing in Niles Coupen from FC Copenhagen. Now, the thing is that one of the reasons why I'm talking about this now is because the video went up on the YouTube channel on Tuesday, but more specifically stating that he has got his work permit authorized. So there's a few little bits and pieces that need to be worked out in terms of his movement from Copenhagen over to West Ham. Now, the thing is that gives us a few days to try and mull it over, and hopefully, basically what it is that because we're at the end of the month now, by the time you get to hear this, is going to be the 1st of July. So hopefully that means that he served his notice and is leaving in June, and then is going to become the director of recruitment or technical recruitment, whichever way the club is spinning it, in the next days, today or maybe tomorrow, tomorrow or Friday, whenever it's going to be. Now, the thing is that as great work as this is, because obviously that means that Mark Noble, being the sporting director, is going to have a lot of crossover with Niles in relation to, obviously like targets, talking about contracts as well, for that matter, with juniors, to bring them in, to bed them in, etc., which I think is a fantastic idea. It really, really is good that the club are really starting to pull their finger out. Obviously, as the video that went up on Tuesday as well, yesterday I should say, that went up on the YouTube channel, also talking about that the club are looking to have consultation with West Ham's season ticket holders for this coming season and last season, at least those that went to a few games last season, and also the Claret members for this coming season, to get their opinion on changing the club badge. Because as you all know that are listening to this, as a West Ham collective, we've been unhappy with how the badge was changed, bearing in mind nobody voted for it 11 years ago. So, or 10 years ago, whenever it was. So, yeah. But as I say, there's a lot of very, very good things that the club is doing at the moment. As I say, that they're making some big progress. There's still no notification as yet as to when Kretinsky's shares are going to be handed to him, so he can become the 43% shareholder, which is the larger number, not the majority in terms of the ruling, but he is the higher shareholder, or will be hopefully within the next week or so. So, yeah, as I say, I do really, really think that the club are making some really good steps very, very quickly in comparison to how long this has been. This has only been over the last 2 or 3 weeks now, pretty much, since all the Sullivan stuff happened. We're not going to go into that conversation again. I've already discussed it with you guys. I'm not going to go over the old ground again just for the sake of it. But what I do feel is that the sideward step or the backward step that is coming is literally Thursday morning, or tomorrow morning by the time you guys get to hear this, is that the new home kit is being launched. And apparently, from what I understand of it, from reading social media and also listening to In the Nose, it's been confirmed that it's based on the 2001 to 2003 away kit. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is a sideward step or even a backward step is because I've criticised the club on numerous occasions in relation to how boring retro shirts are. They really genuinely are very, very boring. because at the end of the day, guys, don't get me wrong. If you want to go and see my mock-up, go over to the YouTube channel, JPWHUTV, because I am talking. Let's say this is a companionship podcast, so there's going to be a video about it that goes up tomorrow Wednesday lunchtime as well, for that matter. So I'm going to try and time these for exactly the same time, but it's never always guaranteed. But as I say, guys, there is a very basically on the video I've done a mock-up that I created to show what the kit's going to look like next season. Obviously, it's New Balance, so it's going to look slightly different to the mock-up because I've used the template of the original Filer or Feeler, depending on your pronunciation of it. How that kit originally looked, and of course, because we're down in the Championship, the Premier League betting rules no longer apply, so we can still have Boyle Sports as the main shirt sponsor. And if I remember correctly, I think it's Lily Plummer Risks is going to be the shirt. Is going to be the shirt sponsor, shirt sleeve sponsor as well. So that's going to be very interesting to see what it looks like when it launches on tomorrow morning. By the time you guys get to hear this, or maybe today, you might be listening after the launch of the shirt. Who knows? That's the way podcasts work, or any content out to social media for that matter. So yeah, as I say, don't get me wrong. I think it's going to look fantastic. It's designed on a great shirt. But, and I know a lot of you are probably sitting there going, come on, JP, there's only a certain amount of things you can do with a claret and blue kit, and there is, but we haven't explored all of them yet. I did criticise for the last 2 or 3 seasons now. I have criticised the club because everyone going, no, it's Umbro's designing company or people that are doing it. No, New Balance, so brand new kit designer, doing exactly the same thing that everybody else has done, the Umbro kits have done in the seasons preceding it. So, guys, as I say, I really, really do think that this is it's such a boring step. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love the retro kits. I think they look fantastic. The one that the club did around about just after COVID, when it based it on the 1980 FA Cup final shirt, that looked phenomenal. I bought it. You know, I do. They've looked brilliant. You know, some of them have been a bit boring. You know, we've had ones that look fantastic, in my opinion, look fantastic. Like, for example, the Paolo Di Canio reboot Filer one that came out a few years ago. That looked beautiful, but it was based on a retro shirt. You know, retro is 25 years plus. Why can't we have somebody in the designing company or the designing group of West Ham and just go, look, why can't we just do something brilliant? Reason why that question is not asked is because this is an easy cash grab. I've said it many, many times. It's an easy cash grab for the club to do. So, guys, at the end of the day, actually, no, we're not going to have this on Patreon. I mean, it is, but it's not going to be unedited because it's the same thing, quite frankly. And as I say, I'm basically going to be saying the same thing on the YouTube video as well. But yeah, guys, honestly, I really, really do think this is so boring that they've done it. Why can't we just go back and have a brand new wipe slate clean, because it's a brand new kit maker? Why can't we just go back and have a look at things and do I don't know, maybe something a little bit more up to date? And I'm not saying, but keep it retro at the same point. So, you know, like for example, by all means, keep the sky blue sleeves 100%. Keep the main bulk of the shirt 100% claret 100%. Why not just have like little imprinted slightly darker claret or mahogany, depending on your terminology of it, for example, Thames Ironworks? Yeah, just like a factory, for example. Or have something that looks very 60s based, like, for example, having a collar, an up collar with a claret strip, then a blue strip, then a claret strip, and then a blue strip. You know, very similar to the older kits, but make it more modern, make it look a little bit more up to date. I'm not saying go to the extremes that Arsenal did to have, what was it, one of the training jackets a few seasons ago that was basically a reprint of the Central Light or TFL's seat coverings. You know, no, I'm not saying taking it to that extreme, but what I'm saying is just have something that looks a little bit like someone's taken more than a thought of, instead of somebody sitting there going, okay, guys, what is going to happen? How's this going to look? How many of these are we going to sell very, very quickly on launch day. That's all the club cares about. They don't give a shit about how we feel about things. I mean, they do, because, as I say, they're starting to get some fan consultations in relation to the badge, so that's fantastic from that side of things. But at the same point, I feel that needs to go another step and get fan engagement on how they want the shirts to look, not just have the same boring reprint season after season based on something that has happened 25, 30 years ago. We shouldn't be doing this. We should be modernizing it, keeping it retro, keeping it in spirit with the club, of course, but keeping it bang with you at the same point. Like, okay, West Ham, this is what West Ham represents. This is our history. This is us going forward. We need a shirt that represents all three combining together, not just, right, let's have a look. What shirt is 25 plus years old? Oh, that one. Okay, let's make that next season, but give it a slight twist. As in, the twist is sponsorship, club badge, make a badge. That's it. That's not a twist. As I say, I don't like to criticize people when it comes to this, because I'm sure the shirt is going to look phenomenal. I'm sure loads of people are going to love it. I'm sure you're going to love it listening to it, and I'm sure I'm going to love it when I see it. But guys, if the club is going to be going forward, we need a completely new ethos. I'm hoping. I mean, obviously, this shirt was probably signed off like 8-9 months ago, before all the big changes happened. Okay, I get that. I'll accept that. But if the 27-28 kits are going down exactly the same boring route, then the promises don't mean shit, quite frankly. That we're going to be trying, all the stuff that's come out, the club saying, we're going to make it more custom, we're going to make it more support based friendly and all that sort of stuff. If there's 27-28 kit, which is around about the time that a proposed new badges, it may be coming out as well. If it's not a brand new ethos, then we're just going to be seeing the same old bollocks, as far as I'm concerned. But guys, thank you very, very much for listening. I do appreciate it. As I say, there's no real point putting this up on Patreon. There's no point editing this, because I basically just said everything that I wanted to say on it. But yeah, so as I say, I will try and make something for Patreon if any of you patrons are listening. But guys, thank you very, very much for this. Please like this video. Please like this podcast. As I'm still in YouTube mode. Please like this podcast on whatever platform. If you're enjoying it, listening to this content, I'm going to try and make content for you as frequently as possible, but it's just very, very difficult, because at the end of the day, guys, there's a lot of there's nothing really to talk about at the moment. But as I say, thank you to everybody that has voted on the polls that were put up on the Facebook group and also the YouTube channel. I really, really appreciate it. There's a nice little mini series that's over there, guys. But thank you very much for listening on this podcast. Please subscribe to this wherever you're hearing this podcast on your platform. Please subscribe to get to know when the new podcasts are available. If you can, give us a like, and if you can, give us a review. I have no idea how to get to those yet, but I will find out at some point. But in the meantime, guys, thank you very, very much for your time. Enjoy your week, enjoy your weekend whenever you're listening to this, and I will speak to you very, very soon. All the best now. Take care.